Where do you think we are in the multifamily value life cycle? The value of multifamily properties, let's look at it, may start at a bottom when the properties are valued at their lowest, when it costs you the least to buy them. And then there's this expansion phase as they move up in value, as rents increase, as people are willing to pay more for them. It eventually reaches a top when perhaps the rents are now leveling out, and then they go into a decrease and a contraction mode there as they come back down, as the NOI drops on the property and folks are not willing to pay as much for it, down back to a bottom again. Where do you think we are in that life cycle of a multifamily property in terms of its value? This life cycle plays out in all kinds of commodities out there, and it does in the multifamily realm as well. Hi, I'm Harlan Merriam. I'm with Attune Investments, and we're looking today at that life cycle of multifamily property values. Mike and I have a kind of a four-part kind of guide for us as we're doing our multifamily investing, and the first is to buy right, to buy at the right time. And one of the keys with that is to buy at the right place in that value cycle of multifamily properties. Our second is to finance right, and the third is to reposition the properties right, and finally is to manage them right all the way perhaps to their sale. And we want to sell at the highest points in that market cycle if we can. So where do you think we are? Recently, I put a poll up on LinkedIn to a multifamily group on LinkedIn, and over 900 people on LinkedIn looked at it and voted where they thought we were in that cycle. Did they think we're in a recovery from a bottom phase or an expansion up toward the top of that life cycle? Or have we reached the top and now we're declining on the backside of that in a contraction? Or have we reached the bottom? Fascinating what the results are, and you can read the post that's with this video today if you'd like to find out what the results of that post are. The question is, where do you think it is? Mike and I spent a good bit of our time looking at, exploring, listening to, reading, and trying to figure out the various factors that put pressure on, these forces that put pressure on the value of properties, such as, are rents increasing or not? Is supply growing faster than the number of people that want to rent apartments? The economic factors in a particular area having to do with population growth or economic growth or job growth in that area. Just the preferences of people as to where they want to live. Interest rates have had a significant effect on the values of properties because they affect what people are willing to pay for them, because they've got to pay more or less for the financing of those properties. So where do you think we are? In a recent multifamily meetup that we had this past month, Mark Johnston, our presenter that day, says, you make a lot of money when you buy. That's because you've built in the value there to increase from. If you can buy at that lower level of that market cycle or get a really good deal wherever you are in the market cycle, then you've built in a return on your investment from the very first point that you buy. So where do you think we are? Mike and I, Mike Jacobson and I, and Mike Bocanegra learned an awful lot in our 128 unit apartment complex up in Tallahassee as we moved through that life cycle over a 4-year period there and eventually sold the property this past year. The best times to buy, I would guess, in the cycle are toward that bottom, even just before it or just afterwards. But how do you know if we're at that point, or is the bottom even further down? And the best time to sell is at the top, but how do you know that there's not more top from where you think it is right now? It's hard to know. So in this article that you can read below, take a look at the various forces, and you'll see where Mike and I come out on this. We actually are a little competitive in this. We see competing forces at work out there, and we're not sure. We could be wrong where we came out. But take a look for yourself and answer that question. Where do you think we are in the multifamily life cycle right now?